I was just thinking, I'd like to thank you. I owe you for the sword practice the other day. I ended up just talking about Kondo and the others last time. And missed my chance to ask about you. Is there anyone special in your life? Someone who makes you want to fight harder, for their sake? I see. I suppose I'd consider Hijikata my king. He's like a big brother to me. You and I aren't so different, it seems. The Shinsengumi will continue to crack down on the Shogun's enemies. Which likely means facing more master swordsmen like Kawakami. If you draw strength from the memories of those you treasure, there's nothing to fear. No battle will prove too tough. And honestly, those are the moments you feel the most alive. I can't get enough of it. The only thing that truly frightens me is the thought when the day comes that I won't be able to fight anymore. Sorry. You're a good listener. I've rambled on far too long without realizing. I have to go and take care of a little something. Care to lend a hand? Good. Then follow me. Do you remember the man who I couldn't save when we went to procure that medicine? That's his house over there. I fear that if I were to visit, it would cause his wife and children terrible distress. So this is as far as I've ever ventured. But I need to know how they're doing. So sometimes I come by to take a look. I'm sure you're right. Now that I've been granted more time, all I can do is continue to wield my sword to help Kondo and everyone else. If we manage to keep the peace in Kyoto, this family can live in safety. If he hadn't gone to all that trouble to seek out that medicine, my fighting days would be well and truly behind me. And I owe a lot to you, of course. I'll have to thank him when I see him in the next life. But you, on the other hand, you, I can thank now. I'm truly grateful for all you've done to support me. Now, how might I repay such a debt? Since you're the one who granted me this life, it is yours to do with as you see fit. How about it? What did you want to say? I'd like to hear it. This seems as good a spot as any. So, what did you want to say? I'm sorry. I felt the same for a while, yet could never muster up the courage to be the first to say so. I confess, I'm rather new to this kind of thing. Don't know if I can be a good enough partner for you. But the idea of making you happy fills me with joy. Let's make this last forever. I was just wondering what to do with myself. I'm glad you came along. The first unit were all here just now. They set off for the pleasure district together. That crowd loved nothing more than the entertainment of geisha. I, however, well, I'm not the only soldier who doesn't enjoy the pleasure district, but the rest of them prefer to indulge in the company of those closer to home. I don't belong to either group. To be honest, with most people, I feel like I'm speaking a different language. That's a difficult question to answer. I would say I'm perfectly content to converse with you, as we're doing now. I have no desire for anything further. Though I suppose that would only amount to ordinary friendship. I've watched as my comrades find someone to treasure. Perhaps this will be true of us in time. That eventually leads to lying together. Because love turns to passion. Oh, what's that face for? Did I say something wrong? I've been thinking I'd like to spend some time, just the two of us, where nobody can interrupt. Why don't you take me to your place? Then lead the way. Do you remember the conversation we had recently? It keeps on going round in my mind, right in the middle of training. Ishikata could see I was distracted and asked me about it. I found I could not hide it, so I told him of our relationship. He was happy for me. He said I've grown. I doubt he'd have been so forgiving with the others. He's always seen me as something of a younger brother, you see? But then he told me that it wouldn't do for things between us to be left so undefined. He said I was a full-grown man who needed to conduct suitably adult relationships. Yes, let's. Sorry. It's just, I was hoping you'd say that. Before we fell for each other, I never even imagined myself doing something like this. But now that I'm experiencing it, it's truly invigorating. But in a way unlike the thrill of life or death combat. I had expected to find this kind of thing difficult, but with you as my partner, that's simply not the case. Let me be certain. You were the right choice for a lover. Now I know that I too have these desires. Now I have another reason to live on. That's your fault, you know? What did you want? Yes? I lived a duel, of course. That won't ever change. But I would say you've become just as dear to me. Up until now, I'd thought of dying as an acceptable risk. But now, I want to be beside you for as long as I can. You have to take the blame for that, all right? I often play with cats, but I wouldn't say I loved them as such. Some say keeping a black cat can cure tuberculosis. I'm hoping there's some truth in that. Thanks to your efforts, the tuberculosis seems to have cleared up. But still, I can't help but call out to a cat whenever I see one. Hold on. Maybe that does make me an animal lover after all. I like to play games with the children in town. Blindfolded tag and hide and seek are my favorites. I was entered into the Tennen Rishindyu dojo at the age of 9, so I never got to play those games much growing up. If I ever should marry, I would like to have many, many children. I could happily spend my days playing with them.